This is Don't Panic, episode number 276, recorded June 1st, 2020. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Don't Panic, the technology podcast on gadgets, the art, and the internet, and you. I am Sean Jennings, joined by two guys who just have fantastic bangs. It is Colby Rabidou and Dan Miller. My bangs have just gotten gross, and I look at you guys got the swift, the swath, the I don't know what you call it, the quaff, the
swoosh.
The swoosh. I mean, Colby's hair is really more of a explosion.
Yeah, we're at the explosion stage. People have started commenting on it.
They're worried your hair's trying to escape?
Yeah.
Just let it go free.
That it'll consume me.
Yes, he's more hair than man now.
Now you could swoosh it too, Sean. You just have to keep growing it out.
Yeah, so I've already committed that I've always kept my hair short for two main reasons. One, I'm lazy, and two, I'm lazy. And so, but I've already decided that I'm going to give my hairstylist permission to give me a cool adult man haircut now that my hair is long.
Oh, wow.
She's not just going to do, literally she calls it the usual. She says, you having the usual? I said, yep, because she just cuts it the same way every time. I'm actually going to allow some loose creativity. What a bad idea. I mean, the mustache was such a huge hit that...
I was going to say, speaking of haircuts...
Oh my God, my lip is so cold. I need like a sweater or something for it.
What are some good mustache names? Like Lip Caterpillar? Is that a thing? I feel like there's something caterpillar related that's applied.
Yeah, I'm sure there are a bunch of really gross mustache nicknames that are very inappropriate. Face lace.
The villain. Oh, these are different styles. I see.
55 slang words for mustache.
Ugh.
Cookie duster. Let's see. Face furniture. Do not care for that one. Lip luggage.
I don't. Face furniture could apply to anything.
Snot mop.
Mm-hmm.
Upper Lipholstery.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, this is gross.
It's pretty upsetting. Pretty upsetting.
But yes, if I mean, this will be dated, I'm sure, by the time most people listen, but I did shave it on my Instagram stories. So if you have not gone on, I Instagram storied my shaving of... Because I'm a man of the people. I put a poll out there.
I answered the poll.
Asking, and it was 75% of respondents said, for the love of God, get rid of that thing. It looks terrible. And so I'm a man of the people, and I did as they said, and I'm squeaky clean.
Nice.
Instagram this just happened.
I did that this evening. Yeah, I did just for you guys. I couldn't stand one more week of you seeing me in just that horrific shape. I think the next time I've kind of decided the next time I grow a mustache, it's going to be when I'm fantastically depressed. That's going to be like my turn into like...
That definitely wasn't this time.
No, I did this specifically for quarantine.
Okay.
But next time, when you see me with like a mustache and a bunch of gangly facial hair, you should ask if everything's okay, because it's probably not.
It's good to know. It's like a canary kind of situation.
Yes, I'm giving you a free warning.
Someone needs to go check on Sean.
It's like the Twitter and Apple, they have like, we have not been served any national security letters so far this year. When the mustache comes back, you don't need to ask, you know.
Yep, my bummer mustache. Yeah, so guys, there's so much exciting stuff going on. I know you guys want to talk about the big story that's going on. We're not going to dance around it. We're going to get right to it. A story that really affects our audience personally. Something that I just found out about the other day. The new flavor of Spindrift. This is exciting stuff, guys. Have you heard about this? Are you excited about this?
I've Googled Spindrift before, so clearly,
we gotta get you on the train. Colby's a big Spindrift guy.
I feel like we've talked. I haven't had a Spindrift since quarantine started. But Spindrift was always a thing I got at lunch when I was spending too much money on lunch.
Back in those days, remember that?
Yeah. 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 What's the new flavor?
Ready for this?
Yeah.
The innovators over at the Spindrift Sparkling Water Company are proud to introduce pineapple.
Stop it.
And it tastes like pineapple. I got some.
Wow.
If you like pineapple, you'll like the pineapple sparkling water.
I do like pineapple.
How do they not have a watermelon flavor? What are these people doing?
I thought, do they not? I thought they had a. Oh no, you're right. They don't. The trick is that the gimmick with Spindrift is they actually like juice the fruit and put the juice in the thing. And I don't. Can you get actual watermelon flavor out of a juiced watermelon? I'm suspicious.
I have had a lot of watermelons over the past couple months, and I can confirm that drinking the juice out of a watermelon it's amazing. I don't know how much juice you get, but the juice that you get definitely tastes like watermelon.
Well, that's so on all the Spindrifts, they say it took X amount of fruit to make this can, so it'll be like, oh, this has 2 lemons in it or whatever. And with the pineapple, it was like 4 pineapple. It was like a crazy number.
Really?
I just don't know how much. I mean, if you think about it, is pineapple really a juicy fruit?
I mean,
yes.
Pineapple juice is a thing you can purchase.
No, I know, but like, think of how many pineapples it takes them to make that.
When I think about, like, I think pineapple is way more juicy than an apple. Like, the apple is so fleshy and, like, you know, so that's where I'm sitting. I'm putting things on that spectrum.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like, how often I don't think I've ever interacted with an actual like like a whole uncut raw pineapple.
Really?
Because they're very spiky. You gotta be careful.
I don't like. Well, yeah, I don't want to lose any fingers. I mean, I'm not a big pineapple guy in general, but now, did you guys hear about this? I saw this on the this was a wire cutter thing. Do you know that there's a service called Maui Gold that will pick a pineapple off a tree in Hawaii, put it in a box, and overnight it to you anywhere in the U.S. for the freshest pineapple you'll ever have?
No.
That's their whole business. One pineapple.
Like, you can only ever get one. Do you have to choose your pineapple wisely?
Well, they choose for you. They also have the most like 90s looking website, which is really fantastic. It's very ghetto. And one pineapple will set you back $40.
Whoa. That seems intense. That reminds me. Oh, we've talked about the canned cheese on this show before.
Yes, it was a big hit.
It's pretty good. I had some. I finally opened a
canned cheese.
Yeah, Cougar Gold, man.
And what is the use of this cheese? Like, what would you use it for?
I mean, you eat it. It was invented during World War II.
It's not like Cheese Whip, or is it?
No. It's like a 30-ounce can of like cheddar cheese.
It's like a tuna can or something like that, filled with cheese.
Yeah, but
giant.
It's huge. It's like this big. It's as big as your head.
And it lasts forever.
Yeah, it keeps indefinitely, and allegedly gets better with the longer you age it. Like
Washington State University Cougar cheese.
Yep.
Kind of like how the Florida Gators invented Gatorade. Probably something cooler to be known for inventing. Those guys invented cheese in a can.
Yeah. I gotta order some more. I'm out.
Do you order it from this website?
Yeah, that's the one.
You order it and print it out? Oh, online. I see. Order online. cougarcheese.wsu.edu.
Yeah, man. It's the real deal.
It's a big. When we talked about it on the show last time. You must not have been here, Dan.
Yep.
We had a Boy Scout leader that I know in the chat saying it's a popular survival item because it's like the cockroach of food. You just can't get rid of it.
Right. Which was the point, I think, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, so you're right. It was a war sort of thing.
It does say refrigerate upon arrival.
I think it ships in like a refrigerated package, or like I don't know if they were ice packs, but it was at least in like styrofoam.
Hmm.
Yeah. Wow. What a time.
Yeah, so I will say that we don't have anything to say about protests, not because we don't want to say anything about it, but I think I probably speak for everyone when we have nothing to add to the discourse,
Well,
except that, well, I mean, I don't know. I don't
have
feel
things
like
to
an
say,
expert.
but is it a good idea to say things? I have lots of opinions, but it doesn't make them good or valid.
I think it's usually a good idea to say things. I think it's a good idea for you to say things, Sean. I think
Oh no,
I
no, no,
trust
no, no,
your
no,
your
no, no.
judgment, but yeah, I don't know. Racism is bad.
I mean, I am woke, but
Racism is bad. Like, I can't even follow all the things anymore. Apparently, at one point we were debating whether fascism was bad or not. Like that was half of yesterday, I think. So like,
That was something that had to be debated.
I don't know. Everyone was saying like, oh yeah, I'm an anti-fascist, and I was like, oh, like I don't know what happened. So I think it's safe to say that we all are against racism, and even though we are all probably racist in small ways, it'll get better.
Yeah.
We're probably all anti-fascist, although I don't know that anyone is fascist. Maybe, well, now that Sean shaved that mustache, maybe he is more anti-fascist than he was.
Pro clean face. No, I mean, to be honest, Dan, oh boy, see, I'm already starting to sound bad. To me, there are, as you mentioned, a million aspects to what is going on in the world right now. And is racism bad is like the most boring take as far as I'm concerned. Like, it's important and people should talk about it and it is a problem. I have opinions on lots of other things that aren't that. I'm going to step aside on that one because I'm not the guy to bring that up. I have thoughts on policing.
Okay.
I have thoughts on our culture and approach to authority, but the sort of race part of it, I'm going to just not touch that.
Okay. What's Sean's thoughts on policing?
Oh boy, I got into this. All right, I got into this a little bit on our, believe it or not, on our Super Bowl episode over on Up for Debate, where I was super. No, stay with me here. Where I was super grossed out by the just slavish devotion to pumping up and just complete adoration for our military. Now,
thank you for your service.
Troops are great. Pro troops. This idea, and it's the same with police, this idea that they are infallible simply because they hold a badge or because they wear a camouflage jacket is so false. It infuriates me. And when it becomes, it doesn't become about, it's not that their actions are heroic, it's simply the act of being there is heroic. And to me, that so misses the point. And it bums me out when it comes to the military, and it really bums me out when it comes to police. And everyone always says, well, not all police are bad. I agree with that. I'm sure there are lots of nice cops. I'm sure there are lots of bad cops. I work with people who suck, and I work with people who are great. It's true in any career. But it's the overall culture of the idea that we've just created a culture where cops are meant to be the most powerful thing, and you can never challenge them. And that really is what bums me out more than anything else.
Yeah, it's literally might makes right.
Yeah.
Well, I will say, comedians are often say things in a way that gets people to laugh, but it's actually true. I'm sure there's a more eloquent way to put that. The Chris Rock thing about how a lot other people who defend police say, oh, it's just a couple bad apples, but there are professions where you can't tolerate a couple bad apples. Like no one and he brings this up in the bit. American Airlines can't say like, oh, most of our pilots are really good at landing. It's like, no, they all have to be really good at landing. If they're like, you have to design it so you weed out the ones that aren't really good at landing. That's critical. Mistakes can happen. Like in that situation, in that system, then like it is safe to assume that things that happen like by accident. And as we've seen, planes don't crash that often. So, if this were a rare occurrence, it would be easier to say, oh, like it was a misunderstanding, it was a mistake, shit happens. All those things are true. But if it happens often, and then you turn around and say, "Oh, well, it's just a couple of bad apples," it's like, well, why do we let the bad apples in? Like, what's the deal with this? Yeah.
But that's, I mean, that just circles back though to nobody standing up. The one thing you can't do as a politician is challenge a police union. That'll end your political career right there. This idea, it's one of those crazy things that you don't think about until someone says it out loud. But it's very common if a cop is fired in one department for breaking the rules, they can move a couple states over and get a job, and that's totally fine and legal, and nobody ever checks on why they lost their last job. And it's a known thing where they hop around, these bad cops, because there's no system to track them, and there's no will to do that. It's the same idea with police buying surplus military equipment. Who thought that was a great idea? No, it's just the police are great and they need more firepower rather than thinking about the actual implications of a Humvee rolling down your street with a bunch of cops on it. But, one of my, I won't say favorite, but I think one of the best tweets in the history of Twitter that I've ever read, and it always comes back to me in situations like this was right around the time of the Newton elementary school shooting. And someone tweeted, and I'm paraphrasing a bit, but someone tweeted and said, after someone went in and shot a bunch of kindergartners and we didn't change our gun laws, I knew it was over. Yeah. And I think about that a lot, where it says, what will it really take to change? Now, I know that's kind of gun laws, but it reminds me a lot of, we've seen these police killings over and over. Rodney King was beaten 30 years ago. And nothing has changed. And it goes back even farther than that. So that's what's really frustrating.
Yeah. I feel like the sort of, I don't know, I want to say misconception is not the right word, but the thing that is making it that we don't change either of those things is kind of the same thing too.
Well, and we know the answer in a lot of the cases. I mean, specifically with George Floyd, who obviously sparked this off, police officer, knee on his neck for over 8 minutes. I don't know if it's a majority, but in a large amount of police forces across the country, it's been made illegal to do that. In Minnesota, it happens to be legal. And that's because policing is done at a local and state level, and there aren't a lot of national rules governing these things. And that's part of the problem, is it's much more dangerous to live in some places than it is others simply because of a rule on a piece of paper. And so that's why I think it's, I think it's goes without saying that looting is bad and burning buildings and breaking windows is bad. But at the same time, I think I would say protesting is a healthy sign of a democracy. It is the people, speaking. And when it gets to this stage, the issue is anyone listening? That's the unhealthy part, And so I continue to try and be optimistic that things will change, but I just go back to that Newton example where, that Newton shooting was a decade ago, how many years ago, and our gun laws haven't changed one bit. And it's, it's hard to not get bummed out about it, but who knows? I mean, you guys live in cities. I don't, obviously different. Are you both under curfew right now? I believe so.
I was under curfew before. I don't know.
Just your normal curfew. Colby's curfew.
Right. Nothing has changed. It was pretty quiet here until yesterday. And then I don't know. I mean, they had a big protest during the day and into the evening, and way later at night it kind of got a little wild out there. From what I understand, the National Guard is just here now, so there are Humvees rolling around the city.
Yeah, I think I saw on the news, Colby, you were the only person looting the CompUSA. Do they still have CompUSAs? I don't know. Is that joke too old? I was trying to think of a computer store that wasn't an Apple store. Yeah. And that was a Fry's Electronics. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's oh boy, that would be a very inappropriate question. I was about to ask just as sort of a fun thought question, if you could loot a store, what store would you want to loot? And I'm like, that sounds in poor taste. I stopped myself.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I don't know. I mean, it's like it's like a little scary, right? Like it's not certainly not normal, but at the same time, I watched like, the mayor and whoever, like the DA and the all had a press conference and they were like, they had a really like heartfelt and like meaningful protest. A lot of people came out and it's super illegal that people like smashed store windows and stole shit, but like when it comes down to it, the you can fix buildings and like the people who are dead now who shouldn't be dead, like they aren't going to come back. Like you can't fix that, and it's
Well, that was, I've done this a million times, and I should know better not to do it. But whenever there is sort of a big national or global event happening, I'm a news junkie. Like, I will happily admit I love the drama, and I've always been fascinated with live news and television, so I just think it's fascinating how they cover it and being in the action and all of that. But I do this thing where I get so deep into it where I'm flipping between channels and I'm on Twitter and I'm doing all this shit. And it literally, like, mentally makes me sick. Like, it literally will mess me up. I had to stop today and be like, I can't, it's not healthy for me to follow it. But that's also partly what gets me, Twitter gets a lot of shit. And sometimes rightfully so. But I've seen a lot of things on Twitter, a lot of videos and a lot of stuff about what's going on that I wouldn't have seen anywhere else. And that is what's really the upsetting part about it, is when you see police interacting with peaceful protesters instead of arresting the people who are actually looting and committing crimes. I don't know if did you guys, because you have a life, you probably didn't. Did you see the president's speech today?
I read about it, but I didn't see it.
It was one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen in my life. And I try, me, I'm Mr. Cool Guy. I try not to get riled up too much about stuff, but him using tear gas and rubber bullets to push back peaceful protesters so he can do a photo op in front of a church just sucked so hard. It was unbelievable. You could not have scripted something that sucked harder than that. And, it's hard to watch.
Now, did you see the thing about how he's trying to hold the Bible for the photo op?
Oh, my God. How hard is it to hold a Bible?
Like it was on fire?
Well, that's someone tweeted like it was burning him that he couldn't hold it. But then there was a great. Right before we came on, I saw the interview with the bishop or somebody in charge of that church in the church hierarchy, who was basically like, "I'm disgusted by what he did," and was really letting him have it. It's just, unfortunately, we're not going to have any answers whatsoever.
No.
Outside of what support we can give.
Yep. I don't know. Are there any? I guess I've heard people say you should wear the masks to also like fool the facial detection software.
Yeah, they've been flying drones around. I saw. They've been definitely collecting information. I mean, there are again a lot of cameras out there.
Information.
Yeah. There was a great one of my favorite coronavirus charts, because they have all kinds of different ways they do metrics around it, but they track cell phone movement as a way to see, you see it like normal corona, it all crashed and you've seen it coming back a little bit, and they did charts for these protests, and you could see in what cities, you compare New York City or Atlanta or Los Angeles, compare it to Chattanooga or somewhere, and you could see much more movement, and you could kind of chart it with the protests. It was a really interesting metric. Unfortunately, I hope that tracking data isn't being used in a sort of crappy way.
Yeah.
But
one would hope. Yeah.
So, do you want to talk about these restaurants, these robot restaurant waiters?
I want to talk about my new headphones.
Oh, right. Sorry, I knew there was
That's
more
okay.
front matter we had to discuss.
That's okay. Things have been... Listen, Dan, I know things are tough out there. Things have been going great for old Sean. There's a new Spindrift flavor and new headphones.
You're back at work, new Spindrift flavor.
I went for... I think it's called a jog Is that what people are calling it? I went for a jog today. I made it about 8 minutes, half a mile, and almost died. So I'm dangerously out of shape.
Nice.
But we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about headphones. I have been working from home like you two, and I have been using this $25 Best Buy headset. Piece of crap. Piece of crap.
Wow. And
since I have another 4 to 6 to however many weeks working from home, I decided I need to up my game a little bit because I am on the phone a lot. And so I decided to get some nice Bluetooth, noise-canceling, decent mic headphones. But because I'm me, I couldn't just get one. I had to get two. So I'm doing an in-person, month-long, thank you return policies, headphone side-by-side test between these, is it Jabra? Is it like jalapeno Habra?
I don't know. I had never heard that said out loud.
Jabra? I've got the Jabra. These are the wire cutter picks. What are they? 85Hs, I believe. And I've got, can you identify the headphones I'm wearing right now? It's in their signature color. That's right. This is the, can you see the Microsoft Surface headphones?
Oh, wow.
These are the new Surface Headphones 2 that just came out. That's very exciting.
What do those do?
So far, I've had them for a couple days. The first thing I've learned is that Windows is terrible about connecting Bluetooth headphones. The Surface ones worked only okay, which is disturbing because Microsoft made them, and I still have not been able to get the Jabra to connect to them. So, which is the whole point of me buying headphones, was to do Microsoft Teams calls on my computer. Not happy. But the Windows ones, what's nice about them is they have these great circular controls where it's actually a physical thing you can turn to turn the volume on and off.
Is it clicky?
No, it's not clicky. It just sort of spins nice and clean. But it makes a little noise, like doot, 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 as you turn the volume up and down. And this one controls the noise canceling, how much noise canceling. And then they have these big touch pads that you tap and you do stuff on to pause it and skip stuff. Love the controls. I don't like the headband. Not super comfortable on top. Gets uncomfortable after a while. The Jabra that I've used, I think the controls aren't as good. They're kind of cumbersome and annoying, but they are more comfortable, I think. So I'm going to keep giving them a shot. Bluetooth is terrible. Honestly, when I really should just return both, because the rumor is Apple at some point this year is going to do a non-Beats Apple over-the-ear headphone, and I should just buy those. But then again, my AirPods never worked well with Windows anyway, so maybe it's a Windows problem. I don't know. It's frustrating. You would think, they're everywhere now, and you would think they would just make it work.
Well, I think what are the problems that you're having?
Well, so the Surface headphones have been generally good, and one of the nice things about both of these is they claim multi-device support, and I've had more luck on the Surface devices where if I'm doing audio on my computer and I start playing something on my phone, it'll automatically play from the phone, so it's connected to both sort of simultaneously. But the Jabra, it has a horrible time, and I had this with my AirPods too, it won't identify them as an audio device. I can connect to the Bluetooth, and it just thinks it's a generic Bluetooth device. It's probably a Bluetooth software issue. It's probably a driver issue or something. I haven't been able to figure it out. And even the Microsoft ones worked okay until I downloaded the Surface audio software, and that finally got them sort of working a little bit better.
Yeah, I had Jabra Bluetooth headphones, or Jabra, a long time ago, like 2014 maybe, and they always got disconnected. But I was using them in the adverse environment of, remember in New York City they had these things called subways. And
you mean like the sandwich restaurant?
No. They had those too, but then they also had this other worse thing that was called Quiznos.
Toasty.
Yeah, but then they had these other things called Subways. They were kind of shaped like a Subway sandwich, except they put people in them. And
oh my god, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, you'd pack them in like one of those little turkey packages that they whip out of the little bar behind the Subway counter, and that's how you get to work.
Sounds like a nightmare.
But, oh yeah, and you used to have to go to work. Anyways, it never worked. Like I would get out of the subway and then it would just like it would just disconnect and sit there and turn it on and off again in the middle of the street. It was not a good start.
But that's what's great about the Apple universe is my AirPods work 100% of the time with my iPhone.
Well,
They work perfectly. And that drives me crazy because nothing else does that. And I'm like, why? Bluetooth is not new. It's been around for like 2 decades. Like, I don't know why we can't do it. So I will report back.
I'm excited.
So far, so good. I actually think these look really nice in the white. I will say. In that signature sort of slate, that sort of like grayish.
Yeah, they look cool.
Windows color. Also, these have more of a round cup, and the Jobbers have more of an oval cup. And I think the oval cup are going to be more comfortable on my ears, but we'll see. So, TBD. Come back, learn about the exciting conclusion of that story. So,
my front matter is I have hooked up. I took an air. Oh wait, did I talk about this? I took an air conditioner that isn't smart, and I made it smart, but not with a smart outlet, but with an RF transceiver or emitter, I guess. Maybe not. Doesn't look like it's ringing any bells. So I hooked up a Wi-Fi radio emitter, and I taught it how to speak the protocol that the remote for the air conditioner speaks. And then I hooked up this thing called Homebridge. Homebridge, yeah. We've talked about Homebridge. So yeah, I have my first Homebridge thing running, where if I say, "Hey Dingus, turn on the air conditioner," it talks to Homebridge, and then Homebridge talks to this Wi-Fi, this extremely sketchy Chinese RF emitter that had like no translations in the app at all, and then that thing talks to the air conditioner and turns the air conditioner on. It's pretty cool.
Nice. Now, does that mean you don't have an air conditioner anymore that just like turns off and on if the power turns off and on?
That's correct.
Oh, damn.
You can, if you want to come to Brooklyn, you can get one. If you want another one, I'll give you that one.
No, I don't.
It's free. It doesn't have any of the side things though, so you have to build those yourself. Each year I build them out of copious amounts of duct tape.
Delightful.
But
duct tape, saran wrap.
I'm hoping that in my future, as you know, as I continue to be unable to go outside for one reason or another, that I can do more cool Homebridge home automation stuff. So I'm going to report back on that.
Well, I'm waiting for the smart lock on your door that doesn't open until coronavirus goes away. So let me know how that goes. No, that's great. I would love to steal some of your ideas.
Well, my ultimate idea that I don't know if you can do this, Sean, but I want the automatic blinds. I want to make my own automatic blinds.
So, do you remember the Kickstarter I backed?
Yes.
Okay. I still have not gotten it. I've been told it's coming soon, and that at least it's more for curtains than for blinds. I thought long and hard about. I mean, really, you just need, because it's a simple like open or you really just need a motor that you can send electricity to.
Yes.
Run motor for X number of seconds. Do you remember the old I'm sure the Lego robots that you could build and program?
Yeah, Mindstorm.
Yes. They still make some version of that. That seems like one of those platforms that might be so simple, and they have like motors and stuff you attach to it. I bet you could build something with one of those and a couple simple motors.
Well, I always wanted Lego Mindstorms growing up, and I never got it, so this could be my opportunity.
I didn't coach. I assistant coached a competitive Lego Mindstorms team.
What?
Of youths. Yes.
Youths?
And we went to the regional competition and didn't win, but we did pretty good.
Wow.
What did you build?
Yeah,
what
I have
kind of
lots of
did
questions.
You storm?
What is it? What does a competition involve? How did this happen?
Yeah, so it's an official Lego thing that they do. They do it nationwide. They might even do it globally. I don't know. But every year they have a challenge where they give you like a big ass mat, and you build the Mindstorm's robot to do a bunch of tasks. And it's all simple stuff like lift this and move it over here, or stack these on top of it, or things like your little robot can do. And everybody in the world has the same set of challenges. And so your goal is to make the best robot to do all of the challenges in a certain amount of time. And so that's what we would do. So we would spend months working on this robot and fine-tuning. We have different teams. Okay, you're doing this one, and you're doing this one. And eventually you go and you do it live at a competition. So all the teams are there, and there's a judge with a stopwatch who literally manages the competition, and then you win, assuming you're the fastest.
Whoa.
So you practice. It's basically like Great British Bake Off, but for Lego robots. You go home and you're practicing these different recipes. Then you have to do it live in front of an audience.
Yeah, you essentially spend all year doing it, and you can only, the team was I think 8 or 10 people, but you were only allowed I think 2 people to actually interact with the robot on the table during the competition, and so everyone kind of had to be on the same page. It was all pre-programmed, and you would have to swap in and out parts on the robot to like do different tasks, and you'd have to run it in a certain amount of time, and it's cool. There's videos of this on YouTube. I mean, it's been around. This was 12 years ago. I mean, it's been around for a long, long time. Yeah.
Colby, were you going to say something?
I just said, whoa.
How did you get involved in this? So it sounds like you didn't do this yourself.
No, so my high school had a team, but when I started high school, I don't know if the funding got cut or what, but then they somehow moved it to the middle school. And so by the time I was later in high school, I was a big Lego guy, and people just kind of, word got around, I don't know, but I was asked to assistant, because we had like a full-on adult chaperone, but I was asked to, who was actually a real-life engineer, and I was asked to assistant coach and come to the practices and the meetings and help them out for a season.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was a lot of lot of fun. It was very creative, and it was a fun way for the nerdy kids to get out and compete a little bit. And nothing like competition day. I actually have a VHS video somewhere of the competition we did that year. I'll have to see if I can find it and pull it up.
Yeah, digitize it.
I'm sure it's very funny.
Are Lego Mindstorms still a thing? Like, you can still get them?
Lego does still make robotics. I don't know if it's still called that. Oh no, it is still called Mindstorms, and I'm sure they're way more advanced than what we had. Yeah, Mindstorms, $350 for the full one. But I mean, it was really, I will say, it was one of those teach kids to code things, and it wasn't really coding, but it was like how to one action triggers another and all that kind of stuff. It was really, really neat for the time.
They have color sensors, infrared.
Yeah, there's all kinds of crazy blogs about, because adults get these and they're like, they'll build a machine that can sort M&Ms in rapid time, or I mean that's a simple one, but people who build all kinds of crazy stuff. So that's what I'm saying. I think this might work for you could probably run a smart home off one of these guys.
Oh,
I'm sure someone's tried.
Wait. Has someone ever built a house out of Legos and then made it smart with Mindstorm?
Oh, shit. Wow, you'd be a hero to many kids out there.
I was looking through my bookmarks. You ever do that? Just go through and look at all this stuff that you've never read.
And they're all ancient, and it's terrible.
Yeah. I was doing that earlier today, and I found this like Blockfest thing, which is like a Lego convention that they hold all over the place, and they take over these huge convention halls, and you can go in and see all these different creations. And I was looking at the photo on the page, just massive swarm of people, and like the Javits Center or something. It's like, oh, I'm gonna get to go to Blockfest anytime soon.
No, sir.
I'm already planning my trip to Orlando in February for my next trade show, so hopefully things are a little more normal by then.
The Idaho Blockfest is the next one scheduled. Maybe that one will go off.
They're certainly going to try.
Brickfest, sorry,
Anywho.
not Blockfest.
Brickfest. I was trying to Google it, and Blockfest seems to be a different thing for
Yes.
small children.
I was confused at first.
What, like wooden blocks? Sunday at the Javits Center. Come on down for Blockfest 2020.
Wow. Oh my god, there are pictures of people just sitting in like a floor covered entirely in Legos, which seems so painful.
Yep.
Ow.
Were you guys big Lego kids?
Yeah.
I mean, there's always a bigger Lego kid, right? I definitely had
sure.
Legos, but it was I didn't have thousands of Legos.
Now, for me, the question you always have to ask, and this says a lot about your personality, were you a free builder or were you get the set and follow the instructions kid?
Free builder. I don't really remember. I probably must have built some sets, but that I don't remember ever building them. So maybe I did build the set, but like my memories
and then you would
are
like
all
mix the set pieces in with the rest of them, and
Yep. That's my memory.
I would definitely build the sets, but then like I would build it once when I got it. And then it would get repurposed into other things.
Now I think this can say several different things about you, like depending. Because I bet for me, if I had to go back in time and like triangulate what I think was going through my head, I bet it was less about like, oh, I want to be creative and like, I'm not constrained by anything, man. It was probably more like, oh, like I don't have the patience to sit here and read these instructions and like do this exactly the same way. I'm just gonna build whatever I want.
But you're kind of like that now, though. When you build digital stuff, it's kind of the same idea.
Oh, absolutely. I'm the same way now. But like, I think you could look at that behavior and think that I'm some sort of like freewheeling artist who's going to become like the next architect. But that was not my motivation, if I had to guess.
I actually I liked doing them by the instructions. Like I do remember once in a while I would go back through my giant bin and like redo a set from the instructions, which was super annoying because you had to go
keep the pieces separate.
No.
Oh yeah.
No, but I don't know. I don't know why.
Yeah, as somebody who has lots of anxiety and likes things planned, I think it's unsurprising to anybody that I loved the sets, I loved following the directions, and I would put the sets in individual Ziploc bags to make sure the pieces did not mix. And I would get very mad at my younger brother, who would then take the pieces and did whatever he wanted with them.
Classic Lord business.
Honestly, I'm surprised I didn't glue them together, to be real. I almost never just built with the loose Legos. I was always a set guy, so oh well.
Yeah.
I missed that.
Yeah, those were pretty good times.
I know. I talked about this on the show years ago, but there was this startup that was doing like Netflix DVDs for Legos back then, which is kind of funny to think about. But where they would like mail you a set or two every month, and you could build it and then send it back.
Oh, geez, yeah.
And I'm like, that's exactly what I want. Is like the fun of building it, and then just like, okay, done, you can have it. Like I don't want to keep them. I'm sure they're doing a great business now. What a great coronavirus business.
Yeah, I wonder if it's still around. I was wondering, it's not like Blockbuster where it's very easy to tell if the DVD is broken or whatever. How do they tell if a kid hasn't like accidentally eaten one of the Legos?
Yeah, it's they claimed they had a way, but I think you're right. I think someone would have to go through and individually do a.
Wait, maybe they made a Lego piece sorter out of Lego Mindstorms to run their business off of.
What? I'm sure. Again, it would be like Christmas for me, where you get it and you open it up, and each piece is in like a special little compartment, so they're all there. And I just open it. It's beautiful.
That would be very satisfying.
Yeah. Guys, we are at the 45-minute mark, if you can believe it. We can talk about tech news. We can do some picks, I guess, if we have any.
Netbricks.biz.
Yes, .biz. Bring it back. Sounds legitimate.
Plans and pricing. Unlimited, only $29 a month.
God, that's a good deal.
That's not even the cheapest plan. There's plans beyond unlimited.
I mean, how many of those do you think you could do in a month? 10? I don't even... Like 2 a week?
Yeah, for $60 a month, I don't understand what the difference... Oh, I see. You get it faster. For $40 a month, you get multiple Lego sets, and you get them all at once. Get new shipments every 60 days. Start with $200 worth of Legos. 2-month minimum.
Because now they have really neat, like they have like the Washington Monument and like the Capitol Building, and they got like cool, sexy looking Legos, not any of this like dopey sort of childish stuff.
Like adult Legos.
Adult Lego. Did you guys ever do any 3D puzzles?
Yes.
No.
Horrible product. So. Hated 3D puzzles. So basically, Dan, you got to Google it because my sort of explanation won't help. But basically, someone was like, "What if we had puzzles, but they were 3D?" And so the pieces were like these like thicker foam puzzle pieces, and you would literally kind of, I don't know how to describe it. It was just sort of like, it's a 3D puzzle. It's just
I remember seeing these in like the mall.
Yeah, like the pieces were like styrofoam kind of.
Yeah, they had and so they bent a little bit. They flexed.
Like me, I flex all the time.
But whoa, he's flexing right now.
Flex on fools.
It's a flex.
Well, it's good to know 3D puzzles are at least still a thing. They got a Game of Thrones 3D puzzle. The Red Keep.
We're never gonna.
I don't know what that
episode,
is.
But have you noticed, like, the Game of Thrones really cashed out over the last year? Like, there's all these different weird mobile apps that look really stupid, and yeah, that's all. I just want to say that they really destroyed the brand in many ways.
Yeah, it's kind of funny with these. I don't want to call it a flash in the pan because that might not be fair. I guess we'll see. But it's like they just released, or they're very soon releasing a new Twilight book.
I heard that.
Like, talk about way after cultural relevance on that one. And I think there's a new Hunger Games book at some point too in that series.
Yes.
And it's like, when has Game of Thrones already hit that point? Because there is another book coming, right?
Yes.
That he's been working on forever. Like, at what point are people going to just not care?
I mean, I feel like I'll read the book if it comes out.
I will too. I don't think it really matters for him because no matter if he does it doesn't matter if he does finish the book because he's set for life. And if he does finish it, there will be a large set of people in terms of like book sales that are going to buy it. So,
but I guess my question is, will it? Because there are franchises that have had comebacks.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, the first one that comes to my mind is Battlestar Galactica. Don't know why.
Yes.
Don't know why because I've never seen any of it, but I do know it had a comeback. Do you think Game of Thrones could potentially be that?
On an infinite time scale, everything will get remade.
Oh, boo!
But
boo.
Will it be good? I don't know.
Will anyone care? I guess I should say 10 years from now, will people be like, God, you know what I really loved? Game of Thrones. They should bring that back.
I don't know, like...
Bring it back. Like, it's still too fresh for me to even consider that. Bring it back.
And not fresh in a good way. Like, fresh in a...
Oh, God. Like, we've really gone off the rails here. But I remember, before the new season came out last year, I rewatched some of the stuff, and like those first 4 seasons were so good. Like I was watching season 4, and I was like, wait a second, like every other episode is some landmark thing. Like every other episode, I'm like, oh yeah, right, this is the best episode ever. And then the next episode comes, I'm like, I can't believe all these things happened in one like time span in 2015. So. It was a good show, so maybe I I could still see myself in a couple of years being like, I want to rewatch it, and then some would say like Battlestar Galactica, I would just kind of trail off uh, towards the end.
Mean, I don't think they've driven it into the ground or anything like that. I mean, I don't think they. To me, when I think of driving it into the ground, I think of The Walking Dead, which they have just decimated into dust. And so it could. I don't see why not. I didn't watch it the first time, so I'm not going to watch it again. But
I think it's interesting to think about things like Pokemon cards. Like, will there ever be another trading card game that is that popular, or has trading cards as a whole thing? Is that whole thing just over?
Yeah, that's a good because it spawned a bunch of competitors at the time, but I don't think anything's really.
No, like Pokemon itself is still very, very popular in its various incarnations.
Well, and so is Magic the Gathering, and
yep.
Digimon, Digital Monsters,
never at the level of like. I remember like kids in elementary school, they would just have a couple. They would just have 3 or 4 Pokemon cards, and they would bring them with them everywhere.
But that was also, I mean, that was a big cross-media hit.
Yep.
Unlike Magic, which was pretty much just the cards. I mean, you had video games and TV shows, and it was a little more. That's sort of an interesting thing about Game of Thrones is you have the books, you have the TV show. There's a little more to that universe. To me, it's like Lord of the Rings. It's like is it Amazon bought the TV rights and they're working on a big stupid expensive show right now. But will anybody care? I don't know. I find it interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
Have we moved? Because even by the last Hobbit movie, I think people were kind of like, enough is enough.
Yeah,
we get it.
The Hobbit, they also like dragged it out so much. Like, it's like, oh, we'll make the 6 movies. Dan, do you remember we went to see one of the Hobbit movies in New York City at a time when you could go on the subway, and we were coming back like late at night, and we got on a subway, and the train didn't leave for like 30 minutes while we watched like a crew of people just come into the station and hose everything down.
Yes.
It was crazy.
Yeah, that became super relevant, recently when they do that super frequently and for even longer. They do that all night.
Have you seen the crazy super duper UV light they're using now?
Yes.
I got to get one of those for my house.
Yeah, everything will be sterile. No life will exist.
That's what I'm aiming for. I just fry the cat. Oh, no.
Poor cat. All right, let's get to picks because I do want to talk about my pick. Even though I take responsibility for this digression, though.
No, it was a good digression. We weren't going to really talk about tech news anyway. So, Dan, what do you got?
So, one of those, like, I don't know. I know Colby has an Apple TV. I don't know if you do, Sean, but when you boot it up, it goes to the Apple TV app, which is a confusing thing. Anyways, there's an app that has the Apple TV stuff, and there's little house ads that play silently in the background, Netflix style. One of them was for this show called House. I don't remember why I clicked it on, but I did. I was like, oh, this looks cool. And it's all in 4K, and it's all like super duper surround sound and stuff. But this show is basically like Chef's Table, but for houses. So they go out and they find like interesting people who've made interesting houses, whether it be like super efficient or like one of them is the house is inside of a greenhouse, so like their yard is always summer in Sweden, which is really cool. Like a house that's made entirely out of clay pots, and like Chef's Table style, it's just really cool views of the house and little panning shots, and they talk about how they made it and their journey and stuff. So, and they're only 30 minutes, so nice, pretty short, easy, something you can watch over dinner before you go to bed. Nothing. No drama. You can just watch someone's house. Frustratingly, they never explain how they get all the money, all these starving artists to build these beautiful mansions out in the middle of nowhere. But if you can set that aside, it's a nice little fantasy you can go on.
Very cool. Yeah. No, there's really nothing else to watch on Apple TV. So
Right, and like anyone who's bought an Apple product in the last year has a subscription. So put it to use and give this a shot.
Yeah, and it's 4K Dolby Vision. It's going to look super great. So that's awesome. So my candy. Very cool pick. Home on Apple TV Plus. Colby's gone.
Oh, bye, Colby.
It said he left, so Colby left. So
maybe the helicopter came back.
Maybe he unplugged something in his crazy setup. While he's gone, Dan, have I talked about Freshly on the show before?
Freshly?
No,
I don't think so.
Okay, great. I thought I talked about it to somebody somewhere, and you guys are the only people I talked to, so I wasn't sure. So you're familiar, obviously, with the whoa.
Ah!
What is happening here? My computer just auto updated on me. Like shut off.
It pulled a Windows XP.
All right. People are on the AirPods now. What is that?
You know what's really annoying about while he's figuring that out? Is that the camera and audio quality is at least at minimum as good on your phone as it is when it works. This is why I'm setting Matt up with a camera tripod and an adapter and all the stuff so we can use his phone for the show. It's surprisingly good. But anyway, when you hopped on, I was going over my pick. Freshly, which is, you're familiar with the Blue Aprons and the HelloFreshes of the world. They send you the ingredients. But what if someone already cooked those ingredients? Well, that's what Freshly is out to find out. They send you the meals already made, already prepared in little... It's basically like a TV dinner, except not frozen. Fresh, not frozen. And you can get
freshly frozen.
Fresh,
what?
Yes, exactly. Flash frozen. No. They really are fresh. I mean, they just keep them cold. They're made and sent to you. You can do 4, 6, 8, 12, however many you want in a week to pay for. And they have a menu of usually between 20, 24, 28 options you can choose from. Now, they're not all new every week. I would say probably out of, let's say 25, I would say probably 7 or 8 rotate week to week, and the rest are usually pretty similar. But I gotta say, they're really not bad. They're actually pretty good. If you like the recipes, the biggest downside for me is they're small. They're about 500 calories each, which to me is like an okay lunch, not really a big enough dinner. Like, it's just barely enough to get me full, and I'm really a pig, so I do feel left a little light. But the quality, I think, is really great. The taste is very good. I haven't loved every meal they've sent me, but there's none I've really hated. And I've tried a bunch of different recipes. So I've gotten it a couple times. Actually, I have a box coming tomorrow. So it's just nice to mix up. I wouldn't do it every week because I think they don't rotate the recipes in and out enough. But I think every 2 or 3 weeks, it's nice. There is no nicer feeling than just 3 minutes in the microwave and you have a pretty decent dinner that doesn't taste frozen. So I would say they've got all kinds of coupons and deals. Frankly, I've got one of those refer codes where you get 20 off and I get 20 off, whatever. But they got all kinds of coupons. So if you're curious and want to give it, I would say I think worth at least trying a week and seeing if you like it. Freshly.com.
That's cool.
Sweet.
Yeah, you could do a lot worse. I'm so lazy, I've moved beyond cooking my own meals to making someone else do it. So, which is sad because now I'm working from home. I got all the time in the world. I can start dinner at 4 o'clock if I wanted to, but instead I'm like, oh, this one's like 2:30 in the microwave. Okay.
You're back working at home?
I've never left.
Oh, for some reason I thought you had gone back.
Nope. I pop in once in a while for stuff, but I'm pretty much full-time work from home and will be probably through at least June.
Okay.
Depending on how many people in mass get the Rona. Colby, do you have a pick or?
Yeah, I do. So I didn't put it in the sheet because my computer pooped out. But We can. Oh, I'm mobile now, so we can just go see it.
Whoa, I love
it. For my birthday, my mom sent me an indoor herb garden thing. Here, let me see if I can. See if
when he turns around the camera, I so want it to be weed. Oh, it's
no,
legal.
Not weed. But I don't know. Maybe they have pods for that. You get these little pods and put them in, and then it just like works. But I don't know. It works. Like, look, there are plants in my house.
So what are you growing?
Basil. This is Thai basil. This is thyme. That's dill, mint, and regular basil.
So, wait. Question: what does this machine do for you?
It does all of the like watering.
Wow.
I don't know how to. Oh, I got my face back. Yeah, it like you have to put water in it like once a month and put like plant food in it once every 2 weeks. But otherwise, it does everything.
How does it distribute the plant food between the various plants?
All right. So,
skin of steps in.
So like this is the worst. This Skype overlap is terrible.
It's a pretty home accessory.
Yeah, it looks great.
So like this black part is like a water tank.
Yep.
So I don't know if you can see inside there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's basically like hollow. Like these aren't in pots; they're just like in the water, sort of. So there's like a thing in here. Like you hear it every once in a while. It like is squirting water around in there.
Gross.
And he's yeah. And then so the water, like you just put the plant food in the water, and it gets like distributed to them that way. It's crazy.
I can't wait for Colby to get drunk and put a K-cup in one of those. It's not making coffee.
Maybe that would grow coffee beans, Sean. You never know.
Ooh. No, hey, but that's really going to up your cocktail game.
Mm-hmm.
K-cups?
No,
having herbs. Yeah.
Yeah, fresh herbs.
I have to trim the Thai basil plant. It's like taken over. I don't know what to use Thai basil for, but
I'm gonna guess Thai food, but maybe not.
Probably, yeah.
Basilian food? That's Brazilian. I would be shocked if someone hasn't made one of those for weed yet. Someone must have.
Oh, it's probably where it originated.
That's what it was designed for.
No, hey, that's great. Great gift idea.
That was pretty good. It fit nicely in my little shelf there. So one thing that was weird is like by default it has a timer and the light goes on and off. Mostly it goes on for a long time and then it shuts off on its own for a while. But the default time it's on, like for herbs, it's on for like 18 hours and it was on until like 2 a.m. or like 1 a.m. So I decided to solve that problem by just changing its clock to
noticed
like several time zones ahead. So it shuts off at like 11 now because it's like my apartment's not that big. There's not that many places I can put it. It's right next to the TV, so I'm just like staring at a light that imitates the sun while I try and watch TV at night.
Now, does it know what plants it has? Does it like adjust the sun for the plants that it has in it?
So when you set it up, like you get the plants all together and you put them in. And like when you start it for the first time, you tell it like what kind of plant it is.
Okay.
So like you couldn't do like, well, you could. It
doesn't have like RFIDs in the soil.
No, that'd be crazy. Yeah, that'd be cool. But it was very manual.
Nice.
Yeah, it seems
Great
to work.
Pick. Wow, we got between we got a very eco sort of healthy round of picks here. It's great. Wonderful. Well, that's pretty much going to wrap up our show this evening. Before we go, I want to remind everybody over at Up for Debate, for debate.tv. We're going through the Rocky movies. We just watched Rocky 4, what is now one of my favorite movies of all time, because it is bananas with a capital B. Absolutely out of control. Matt and I, we ended up going, I think, over an hour and a half. We could not stop talking about Rocky 4. It is really a great episode, and it's a great movie. So go check that out over at upfordebate.tv or wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Up for Debate. That is it for this show. Don'tPanic.io is our website. It's very nice. These gentlemen, maybe they don't want credit for making it, but they did. And you can go there and get the episodes, the audio, the video, the pics, all that's right there. You, of course, subscribe to the show wherever you get podcasts, Overcast, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're just about everywhere. And, of course, the video version on YouTube. And, of course, you can get a hold of us at Don't Panic Show on Twitter and email us at don'tpanicshow@gmail.com is the email address. You can hit us up there. On behalf of Colby and Dan, I'm Sean. Everybody, stay safe out there. Go and exercise your First Amendment rights and be great. And we'll see you next week for another Don't Panic.